Darren Bent, this is huge story. I imagine that your phone was ringing off the hook last night. People wanted to speak to you.
Yeah, it was going.
Give us an opinion. We've got you exclusively, so tell us about it. Did you expect this was going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's probably one of the worst kept secrets in terms of. I'm pretty sure Harry Kane said it a few times that if Spurs' ambition don't match his own, then he's potentially going to have to look to move on. Now, quite clearly, from where he is in terms of his career and being, in my opinion, arguably one of the best two centre forwards in the world, him and Lewandowski, he should be competing for the biggest trophies in the world. I mean, he's won Golden Boots in the Premier League. I mean, his record is out of this world, by the way, when I was just having a look. He's won a World Cup Golden Boot. Like, the only thing he's got missing off his CV is major honours in terms of club honours. So, for me, it's no surprise. And I think a player of that quality, and listen, there's an argument to say that he is one of England's greatest ever goal scorers, and he's still got a long way to go as well. So for me, yeah, he's got to. He should be playing for a club that should be competing for the major trophies.
You know more than most. How difficult is it to get out of Spurs, especially when you're still in a contract?
But listen, it was hard for me, and I was nowhere near the level of what he is to Spurs, and it was difficult for me. I mean, I've told the story so many times about being on the plane, having to get off the plane, having to wait till Spurs got back from Hong Kong before the deal to Sunderland was done.
I love that story.
Honestly,
it tickles me like.
It was so difficult. I mean, I never found out what the little piece was that was obviously missing, which is why it took so long. And you talk about a guy for Spurs who's going to be, if he stays there, their all-time record goal scorer. He's one of the greatest goal scorers we've ever produced, and he's playing for Spurs. I've seen Berbatov struggle to get out. I've seen Robbie Keane struggle to get out. I've seen Bale, who was arguably one of the best in the country at the time, have to go for a world record fee to get out of Spurs. I've seen Modric have to leave Spurs. So if people think Kane's going to be able to go for 100 to 120 million, no chance. And Levy's one of them owners as well, by the way, that if he says, say he said 140 million, he's not letting him go for anything less than 140 million.
I was going to say to you, though, Dan, and I've asked this, surely Harry Kane would have a clause in his contract that would say, I can leave for this price. Would he not?
I don't know. If I'm honest, Ali, I'm not quite sure if Daniel operates like that, if I'm honest. I always know that there's always that 6-year contract that just banded around, and that was what it used to be. Like when you go sign for Spurs, it's always a 5-year plus 1-year option. So I'm not quite sure if he'd have that clause in his contract. I know I've heard this morning that about a gentleman agreement, is it? Apparently that, I don't know, if that, it's going to have to be a lot of money.
That's an assumption. I think people are sort of saying that maybe they had this conversation, unless there's some hard journalism somewhere that they know this exact conversation happened. But I suppose really that the difference, you were just saying there, you're nowhere near the level Harry Kane in terms of importance to Spurs at the time. But does that buy him anything extra? And I don't know Daniel Levy, so this might be a complete no, but as in, does his loyalty buy him anything back from that club?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it'll buy him the kind of loyalty that he's shown Spurs and what he's done for that club over the last few seasons, that Daniel Levy would probably be open to letting him go and compete for major honours because he's earned the right. So I don't think there's any kind of... I don't think Daniel Levy would say to him, no, you're not going. I think he'd say, you know what, fair enough, you've put the time in, look what you've done for as a club. But that still won't shift Daniel Levy's mentality in terms of price. Yeah. Like that won't let him get any kind of discount in getting out of there. He's still going to want 140, 150 million for him, because could you imagine this Spurs team without Kane in it? Like the relationship with Son, the relationship with Bale all of a sudden, because obviously Bale's going back, Kane leaves in the summer. That leaves Son. Bergwijn's had a bit of a poor season. I mean, I don't know where they'd finish without Kane.
Timing of it's a bit strange as well. 24 days until the Euro starts, and there's reports in the paper saying that he'd like it sorted before the Euros. Does that kind of suggest to you, if you believe that, does that suggest that not a deal's already been done, but Harry knows where he wants to go and he knows it's realistic?
I think he'll have an idea of where he wants to go. I think he'd also have an idea of how good he is in himself. So he'll know how good he is, and he'll know that if he becomes available, roughly what teams will be in for him. Then it comes down to preference. What does he want to do? Now, listen, Harry looks like he loves Spurs, so I'm sure this is not an easy decision for him, because he's been there, obviously, his entire life, scored that many goals for them, he's adored by the fans, everyone around the club loves him. So to just pick up and go, I'm going to leave, I don't think it's that easy, but it's where does he go? Now, listen, we know one of the clubs that have got that kind of money is Chelsea, and they will throw everything at it. And do I see Daniel Levy selling to Chelsea? I don't, unless you add another 50 million on it, 200 million.
Do you see Daniel Levy selling to any other Premier League side?
Potentially Manchester City or United. I think them two have got the best opportunity. Although Chelsea have got the money to do it, the hatred between the two football clubs in terms of... I've played in that derby. The supporters, the players on the pitch, like it's a really good game to play in, but it's really hostile. And for Daniel Levy to be seen as making one of their rivals stronger, in terms of London rival, well, I can't see that happening.
Do you feel like if he goes to any one of those clubs, Manchester United, Manchester City, Chelsea, he transforms whatever club that is into... Man City already won the title.
But if he goes to Man City, it's game over. So that's a wrap for the next 4 years.
Well, it would ruin the league, wouldn't it? 100%. So what about if he went to Manchester United or Chelsea? Does that suddenly make them title contenders?
You look at the amount of chances that Chelsea create. Imagine Werner. We know he's had a tough season in terms of missing chances. His work rate has been brilliant. But can you imagine if you gave Kane half them opportunities? He's not missing them. So automatically that makes Chelsea a lot better player, and that puts them a lot closer to Manchester City than anyone else.
So you can kind of understand, Ali, why not just why the price tag is what it is for them to sell, but also why actually a club might look at that and go, you know what, if we spend that sort of money, we're probably going to win the league.
Yeah, but I'm looking at it the other way, right? And by the other way, Benty, I mean, if I'm Manchester City, I buy him not only to obviously better my team, but effectively destroy my rivals.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean?
100%.
That's what I'm doing, mate. If I'm Manchester City, I'm getting Kane or Haaland or somebody like, and just absolutely. That's it. It's game over. As you say, probably for the next 2 or 3 years, you couldn't see anything changing. And the way City have won the league this year, playing false number 9s. Imagine, Benty, how many goals Harry Kane would score in that Manchester City team.
And Joe, and that's the thing. And the other thing as well is that he wouldn't have to play every single game. You know what it's like at Spurs. He's that,
and it would suit him.
It would suit him. I think they could rest him some games. Imagine how fresh he'd be. Oh, if he goes to Manchester City, wow.
Rick is a Manchester United fan, and he says, who in their right mind would pay 100 million plus for Kane at 28? He'll be finished in 3 years due to his injuries. Well, Rick, your club actually has made an inquiry, so your club might buy him at 28. He's still banging the goals. What is it, 22 goals so far in the Premier League just this season, being pretty consistent despite the fact he's had injuries, still manages to hit unbelievable numbers.
But that's the thing, Laura, as you said there, unbelievable numbers. And I get Haaland, obviously he's younger, he's fresher, but what you're doing when you buy Kane is you know what you're getting. Like it guarantees you, if he stays fit, 20 plus goals every season.
He knows the Premier League as well, so you're not going to have any of that potential what if it doesn't work sort of scenario.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.